Dominica and Cuba celebrate 20 years of developing people. Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit demands proper field management, and the second in a series of workshops for music professionals gets underway. Thanks for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I am Lourianne Carter.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others after this.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. Got it? Taking care of us can be so easy.
Take good care of the children.
Thank you for staying with us. Head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit, Lourianne, is calling on farmers to practice smart agriculture to reduce the intrusion of pests. Ansem reported that through a surveillance program, the unit discovered a number of pests which have invaded the agriculture sector in Dominica. The Ministry of Agriculture, through its pest management program, has sought to educate farmers on the proper use of pesticides.
Our assessment on the ground has shown that farmers are using toxic chemicals to control their pest problems. And we want to work with the farmers, to train the farmers and to educate them on the proper use of chemicals. And these pesticides will have serious problems down the road for farmers, for the plants, animals and human health. And so we are encouraging farmers to consult with the Plant Protection Unit in terms of the use of chemicals.
Ansem is concerned about the use of toxic chemicals which have a negative impact on the environment. He is urging farmers to practice smart agriculture such as sanitation, good cultural practices and necessary drainage for farms.
There are many natural and biological pesticides, I must say. We talk about dipel cure. These can give you the desired result, and so we are really discouraging farmers from using toxic chemicals that can affect our natural enemy and the environment. And so we're also asking farmers to consult with the Plant Protection Unit, consult with the expert before using any chemicals, because as I said, the chemicals are targeted for particular pests. For example, the stages of the insect. Some chemicals will be effective against the eggs, the larval stage and the adult stage.
He stated that farmers often use chemicals that they think will be a quick fix to control their pest issues. He warns against this.
There are soft-bodied insects. There are insects that will cause serious problems and pesticide cannot control them, such as the mealybugs, the scales. They have waxy substance that can protect them. So spraying it with a toxic chemical will not give you the desired result. And so we are very much concerned with the use of pesticide. And as I said, this pesticide has serious and negative effect on plants, animal and human health. And we are very much concerned about the human health. And so we also need to protect our natural enemies. And the natural enemies I speak of is other beneficial insects that can control the harmful ones. And so using toxic chemicals, it will kill the natural enemies that are controlling our pest problems.
Ansem is encouraging farmers to consult with the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit for the necessary recommendations to deal with pests.
In more news, a promise made by the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit to advance the music industry is already being realized by the Association of Music Professionals, AMP, of Dominica. In July 2015, the Honorable Prime Minister made that commitment while announcing an allocation of $500,000 towards the industry. Earlier this month, Honorable Dr. Skerrit identified training as one of the key aspects of developing the industry, which has the ability to contribute to the national economy. From April 26th to 29th, a training workshop on the craft of songwriting was held at the Dominica State College, facilitated by Swedish national and renowned international songwriter Alina Gibson. President of the Association of Music Professionals is McCarthy Marie.
And as you know, the first way that an artist nowadays gets known anywhere is through some recording of the other. So we thought after you've written the song, you know, you write a song, the next thing you should do is to know how to record it properly, because if it's badly recorded, it kills a good song. And if you have a scintillating recording of a good song, you're likely to have a hit, which will make you plenty money.
The training is being facilitated by recording engineer and record producer Stuart Young of Canada.
In Canada, we have a lot of government or industry-funded programs to help music grow and develop and help songwriters and help. So this is a similar model to something I'm very familiar with in Canada. It's helped a lot of artists that I know get work done. So I thought it was a great idea. And with the way technology is, it used to be studios were analog, it was set up in a place. There was a real structure of training of people learning how to do recording. So you'd get a job there, you'd start as an intern, you'd make tea, watch the sessions, and you'd learn from a person that taught you the things. Now, people are buying systems, recording, but they don't have that core knowledge, and there's kind of a break between that knowledge being passed down generation to generation. So this was, I thought, a great opportunity.
Adrian Francis describes his experience at the workshop.
It's really because of my passion for music, and I noticed Dominica doesn't really have much support behind a music industry, and a lot of my peers and the persons I know were very interested in using our talents and our skills as a way to make income and still live our passions and our dreams. So I really gravitated towards this course, and I think it was a great idea, and it is a great idea to really sensitize the individuals. What I've learned so far that I don't really know, as Mr. Stewart was saying, that the analog and the digital sides of the whole studio production, the analog is really the core of where it started. So it's just learning these historical things gives more depth to music, and yeah, it's a great experience so far.
He hopes that this workshop can enhance his skills in the music industry.
Honestly, I'm a person, I like knowing things. So being in the music arena, like I also I was part of the songwriting course, because music is really my thing. So to know the techniques about writing a song, the proper structure of a song, to really market it and put it out to the international market. So it will be the same thing for here. I really want to know what I can take from it, what I can learn from it, and put it in my craft. Because as they say, talent is one thing, but skill is something that will take you further than talent.
The training programs will cost over $50,000.
The Monjon Primary School is the winner of the Southeastern District of the Local Government Department's Spelling Bee competition. The competition was held on Tuesday as one of the activities for Local Government Month. 4 primary schools participated in the Spelling Bee. Aaliyah Stevenson and Janai Polidor represented the Monjon Primary School. In second place were Iversha Fontaine and Martha Larond of the Dailies Primary School. Third place were Daniel Pengden and Irvin Lockhart of the Grand Fort Primary School, while Jasnick Prosper and Tatiana Bethel of the Jones Beaupere Primary School came in 4th place. The students received prizes and certificates of participation.
In other news, head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit, Ryan Anselm, is calling on farmers to practice proper sanitation. Anselm, in an interview with GIS News, addressed some issues which the unit is currently facing with farmers. He stated that the quality of crops goes beyond inspection and packing for export to the fields. Anselm wants farmers to exercise good agricultural practices.
Once you plant the crop, you have to do the necessary de-leafing, the necessary sleeving, the necessary cultural practices to ensure that your crop meets the necessary quality regime, and ensuring that our pest populations are kept very, very low. And so the message I want to tell the farmers that a quality issue is not only an inspection process on the port and you'll get either your fruit being rejected or being exported.
The head of the Plant Protection and Quarantine Unit also raised the issue of spraying crops before harvest.
So if you're bringing your fruits and your vegetables to the market, we want you to observe and respect the harvesting intervals. Some people are spraying chemicals on vegetables, cabbage, carrot, and the next day or 2 days they bring it to the market, and that can affect human health. And so we want to encourage the farmers to adhere to the harvesting interval, the post-harvest regime.
Farmers will soon be trained by the Dominica Bureau of Standards. You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
I had a bleeding disorder that I did not know about, and they had to be transfusing me continuously. I got 56 units.
Being there at the blood bank, I was like, yo, I'm actually saving someone's life.
You never know when you can go.
Give blood. I have done it, and believe it or not, it don't hurt.
I won't be scared. I'll give. You know you're gonna give blood. I'll make sure she does.
Sit down at the blood bank in a comfortable environment for 45 minutes.
Helping people.
You are stimulating your body to make brand new cells.
You get free cookies, you get juice.
Glad to know your blood group. Feels good.
I felt as a better person.
It's a good thing to be alive, and I can thank God that I'm there and I'm enjoying life.
Welcome back. From May 1996 to May 2016, it has been 20 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations between Cuba and Dominica. Cuba has helped Dominica develop its human resource in many ways. Jarna Hector compiled this report.
On May 18th, 20 years ago, the Commonwealth of Dominica and the Republic of Cuba formalized a relationship which began decades before with former Prime Minister and visionary Roosevelt Douglas. The average Dominican can call to mind the thousands of Dominican students who have had free access to tertiary education in Cuba since the late 70s. The 70s, a time of economic underdevelopment for Dominica, which meant hard times for locals and not a hope for secondary education, much less to travel to foreign lands for tertiary education. Yet, a vision of a Dominica built on a foundation of educated professionals persisted, despite the hardships, and today it has paid off. Add to that the Cuba Technical Assistance Nursing Program to deal with the shortage of trained nurses on the island. Today, former students of Cuba form the core of the medical, engineering, and architectural services of the island. GIS's very own Creole reporter McPherson St. Luce is a product of Cuban education. He holds a degree in political science and still remembers very clearly what it was like to be among the first to further studies in Cuba. So McPherson, how did you feel about getting the opportunity to study in Cuba?
Well, Jana, first of all, I felt very good having gotten the opportunity to study at one of Cuba's top colleges, Escuela Nico Lopez. It gave me the opportunity to open up my mind to top subjects of politics. Okay. First of all, we did philosophy, international relations, and world history. Okay. Today, I work at the Government Information Service, and having gotten the opportunity to have studied at one of Cuba's top colleges, Escuela Nico Lopez, I think it put me in a very good shape to have the position that I now hold at the GIS.
What do you remember about college life in Cuba?
Well, first of all, I must admit that college life in Cuba was very good to an extent. Cuba having been, undergoing this embargo from the United States, it was kind of difficult for us students. Mm-hmm. And, I remember, having gotten sometimes 2 toilet papers and sometimes 2 soaps, per month. It was kind of harder. But with determination and goodwill, it really paid off, not only for me, but most of the students who went to Cuba. I think it really paid off.
What are your best memories?
Well, my best memories in Cuba is that, having interacted with some of my colleagues, especially from Latin America and Africa,
Okay.
I remember in my class, we were at 9, 6 of us, well, 6 from Africa and 3 of us from the Caribbean. And the course was kind of difficult. First of all, I remember I almost failed political science. And I remembered, this is Rosie Douglas, having come to Cuba. And I was the only one who passed, actually, that subject. I remember it was a weekend, and we had a homework. And 8 of the other students failed, and I was the only one who passed. And I think it was thanks to Rosie Douglas. It was a very difficult question in philosophy. And Rosie having come to Cuba, I took my homework to Rosie Douglas, and he gave me the answer, and I was the only one who successfully passed that homework.
That is a very good memory. Would you say that Dominica is better for having sent students or for sending students to Cuba?
Very absolutely. As a matter of fact, Jarna, to go to study at universities around the world, you would need a certain amount of finances. And to study in Cuba, you do not need any finances except for, to buy your local stuff and food and well, not really food, but some of the stuff that you require.
Like your living expenses.
Like your living expenses and that sort of thing. But if you would have to study at UWI or at University of London or University of Washington, you would have to have a certain amount of finances, whereas compared to Cuba, it is free of charge.
Yeah.
And I mean, to be a doctor, you're a doctor, whether you studied in Cuba or you studied in the United States,
still a doctor.
The profession is the profession.
Okay.
And I think that the Cuban government must be congratulated and complimented for having, extending an olive branch, not only to Dominica, but for the rest of the world. And I think, the Cuban government, they have to be complimented for that.
So just to be clear, you feel like you're also a better person for the experience?
I am a better person for that experience, not only me, but most of us who had the opportunity to have gone to Cuba. I think it really paid off.
Today, the fruits of the relationship between Cuba and Dominica are everywhere, both tangible and intangible. Many will agree that development is not only evidenced by physical infrastructure. In that regard, Cuba's Fidel Castro and Dominica's Labour Party government are of the same accord. Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit has referred to revolutionary and the former Cuba leader Fidel Castro as comrade and brother. They share much the same socialist ideals which seek to elevate the status of the poor and underprivileged through education and, yes, access to quality health care. Cuba is internationally renowned for its medical internationalism program. Since the 60s, Cuban medical personnel have been sent overseas, particularly to Latin America, Africa, and the tropical Pacific. Medical patients and students are also being brought to Cuba through this program. Cuba has more than 30,000 health personnel, including no less than 19,000 physicians in 103 countries. The island provides more medical personnel to the developing world than the 7 leading industrial countries combined. Tiny Dominica's healthcare system has been benefiting for years from Cuba's goodwill. The island's Honorable Health Minister, Dr. Kenneth Daru, is a graduate of Cuba himself. He knows firsthand as a medical doctor and health minister the medical support which Cuba has freely given to Dominica.
There's really no monetary figure that can be attached to the contribution of the Cuban government as it pertains to the health sector. We can speak to a number of other programs that Cuba, Miracle Eye program, where I think thousands of Dominicans, from what I recall, would have gone to Cuba to have surgical interventions, ophthalmologic, that's to do with the eye, surgical operations as it pertains to cataracts and pterygiomes, etc. I mean, these are surgeries, yes, which are relatively simple surgeries as far as eye surgeries go, but which they otherwise would not have been able to afford had they, whether they remain in Dominica. And a number of other, the medical brigade, what they call the medical brigade, which is the corporation where doctors are sent on a yearly basis to Dominica, especially as it pertains to specialties that we do not have available here on island. So long live the relations between Dominica and Cuba.
The relationship between Dominica and Cuba and resulting developments are impossible to quantify, but they can be seen in the faces of the Dominican people. On the occasion of the 20th anniversary of formal ties, Viva Cuba, Viva Dominica. For GIS News, I'm Jarna Hector.
And that's news. McPherson St. Luce is up next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, travail projet $1.2 million qui contract signé pour bâtir un gros miroir tout pour l'occasion sport en Geneva, Guabe, déjà commencé. Mon parlement Honorable Justin Charles visité le projet là semaine passée.
Travail ça là qui ou ka wè de mois là, c'est travail qui commencé en projet qui gouvernement just sign contract pour nous just sign contract pour avec Shane Alexander. Ça c'est dans ces 10 différents contracts là qui étaient sign pour commune hod Pichelin pour Bagatelle avec ça c'est plus gros contract là qui était sign pour 1 million avec 200 plus que 200 $1,000 avec award salate contract salate awarded pour Shane Alexander avec Shane son monde qui ja accoutumé avec qualité travail ça là quand nous savent il fait pont ils vont box culvert en Pichelin calebo pour health center so c'est pas bitin qui neuf pour avec contract salate sign la valait 3 semaines qui passait avec nous ouais quand il dit il commence travailler une semaine qui semaine ça la même il commence travail avec ça il a fait il que dit ça il a fait mais on ka ouais il need 3 normes ouais yon de book Dubik avec yo because we have Dubik même te displace so nous ni pour engage chez moun Dubik là so la ni de nom Dubik avec la ni d'autres moun hot Guabe quand il dit il passe pour tout monde besoin ça il fait il passe pour trop à celle because vous parlez nom quand il do bout là quand il garde travail so mais c'est plan ni pour y mener d'autres noms en les projets là because ça c'est pour moi Guabe bon because at least nous taper des trois moun qui travaillent $40 pour yo en des familles yo manière yo même.
Honorable Charles bien plein qui projet ça a commencé.
So, mon content qui commence ce projet là avec mon certain ministre Public Works que très content avec commencement travail là. So mon annulé yo fait timide vite because nous savons nous presque commencer hurricane season là avec la pluie qui a tombé so nous ni pour travailler because ça son côté où la glow qui descend quand yo ka travailler là ni glow because yo ni pour pomper glow sorti because ça son côté qui là ni autant glow en terre so mon yo pousser travail là pour la pluie commencer tomber avec glow descend il pas que embêter yo trop mais mon content at least travail là j'ai commencé avec mon regarder pour moi au fini travail là.
Et puis finalement, on unit établi en ministre commodité où là des officiers employés pour travailler à ces bagailles qui a affecté consumers. Ça c'est mon qui a poursuivi bagailles. Parole ça là sorti au directeur commodité en Dominique, M. Marfan Walter.
Oui. Depuis l'élection là, passé, le ministre là, reconfigure ministre là. Nous croyons que c'est un bagage très important pour nous en unit à la division trade pour travailler à ces issues qui ont affecté consumers. So pour ce qui nous mettons unit ça là, nous ni des gens qui travaillent unit ça là, et bien ça unit pour faire c'est pour coûter ça un problème avec report hod monde qui a gagné bagaille ou qui a bénéficié hod différents services avec si on y pièce des problèmes si on y pièce des grievances pour voir ça yo ça fait pour aider yo pour faire bagaille plus meilleur pour yo un pays là les yo servi l'argent yo pour un good ou pour un service.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour Nouvelle en Créole pour à présent. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
Tips to help prevent and reduce high blood pressure. Be active and get moving every day. If you are overweight, cut calories and reduce portion sizes. Eat healthy types of carbohydrates.
And take your medication and multivitamins if needed. Do regular health checkups.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm.
Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. Live streaming is now available on our YouTube channel 24 hours a day. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Jarna Hector.
And I'm Lourianne Carter. Thanks for watching and join us again next time on National Focus.